Okay, so you want to make more money editing, cool, I get that. But there is there is a little thing that is stopping you from actually making more money, and it's kind of ironic because the answer to that is making money. So um you start off right making, I don't know, $0, let's say. Let's just say you make $0 off the bat, and then you start making like maybe your first like commission nowadays like $50 or something. Cool. Then this is good because you start repeating that process of making more and more money, and you like it. You like to get into the tune of making set money, right? So now you're making between like, let's say, between like 500 to like 2k per month, right? That's what you're making, and you're liking it because it's consistent, and it means that you get to live on this repeated schedule of making just making money, right? You get to buy stuff, which is nice because you didn't get to do so prior to editing, which is great, and that's beautiful, and I love that for you. But you want to start like jumping, and you want to start making like 5k, like, and even more, dare I say, like 10k per month, right? And I know what it's like to go from 2k to 5 and like let's say 10k, right? I know what it's like to make that jump, and it was very quick for me. But I realized that I had a system I didn't even realize I had until recently, right? And it's a system that nobody else has purely because they want to make the jump to make 5k or whatever. They want to make more money. Let's just say 5k, for example here. So people want to make 5k, but at the same time, they don't want to lose any money they're making now, right? They want to go straight from, let's say, 2k to 5k or 500 to like 5k, right? They don't want to. Like drop their income by any amounts, right? Let alone like $0 in order to make 5k. So another thing, fun fact about editing, you probably don't want to have a job, which is why you started doing editing in the first place. I get that, bro. Like, neither do I, and I'm so thankful that I've never had to get a job, and I've just had editing. I like editing. So, but there's one thing that school has taught me that I love, and it's this repeating process that gets us to learn. So it is to actually be taught, so to learn, right? So learning, and then we go and we practice it. We do the practical practice. You know, let's just pretend that this is practice. And then we test ourselves, right? So we test ourselves. So learn, that's when the teacher is teaching us throughout the lesson. Practice, we start doing homework and we start doing the work in school. And then test is when like the exams come up, or like test, or I don't know what it's called in America, maybe exams. But yeah, this is like this I guess the school system, right? And it keeps repeating. So you learn, practice, test, and then you learn something else, practice and test, right? So you keep doing this, and we hate this because we have no interest in learning this stuff. So why the hell should I do the other two steps, right? Therefore, we just don't give a shit about school, and I get that. So, what the hell does this have to do with this, right? Well, you like to make 2k per month. Like, let me highlight that for you. That's 2k. Okay, it's 2k. That's per month, right? That means every single month you need to make this, right? Now, whether that's because that's just how you live, or whether that's because you don't want to drop in your income, but either way, you're making 2k per month. That's every single month. But what if I told you for 1 month, or 2 months, or 3 months, all right, or however long it takes you, you would have to make not 1k per month, not even like 500 days, like $500 per month, right? What if you just made $0 for a few months, right? In order to get to 5 to 10k, would you do it? like would you do it? Probably not. Okay? Probably not, because you don't like the idea of having to drop in income because you're afraid that you won't be able to get that back, right? You're afraid that you won't be able to get to that level again. And I get that. Like believe me, I get that. But one thing that I did that I didn't realize I was doing was when I was trying to scale my prices, what I did consciously was jump from client to client and just keep raising my prices until I could just be happy with the the work that I was editing, the amount that I was getting paid, right? Until I was just happy with it. And I don't really care what the clients thought of me if I, like, let's say I just edited one video and then I said, okay, like, pay me more now. And they say, what the fuck? We just agreed on a deal. You want more money now? And I'm like, yes, I want more money. And if they say no, they say no, right? And I don't really care what they said, whether that was damaging to my reputation or not. I mean, I wouldn't know. But I realized that these weren't people that I was going to stick to long term, right? I had no fear of dropping my income in order to go and make more money. And what you're at right now is good, don't get me wrong, but if you want to get to here, you're going to have to make some sacrifices. And I want to put this into perspective, whether that whether you understand this next analogy or not is, I don't know, but this is a good way for me to put it, right? So, as you probably know, if you've been watching me for a while, I used to be big on Fortnite. Like, I used to be big on just playing all day, every single day, and then I started editing some Fortnite highlight videos, and then I started editing Fortnite content videos, and then regular content videos, right? I made that transition from like just highlights to like just Fortnite content, and then just regular content, right? So that's how I did that. But anyways, when I was big on Fortnite, I would try to compete. And when I started competing, I asked my friends, okay, where should I go to find myself a duo to partner with, and so we can start grinding out. And they just said, oh, go to this place called Elite Scrims, right? Elite Scrims. So like any other Discord, like for example, a Discord server where you'd go to find clients, right? This was in the same way, except it was made for you to find a duo, like a partner or a trio or something. So when I went to go look, I was beginning, right? I had like the way we would measure ourselves via skill was through something called PR, which meant power ranking. So the same way in like Valorant, you'd have that RR, I think it is, or I don't know what it is like in Valorant, but like either way, point is, I had nothing, right? I had nothing. I thought I was pretty good, but I just wanted to start competing. So I had 0, so I thought, what can I do? Well, I'll have to go find somebody. And when I'd see people looking for a duo, people who were better than me, or people who had more experience than me in competitive, somebody who had like 200 PR, right? They would say, in order to be partners with me, if you want to be partners with me, you're gonna have to have the best internet. You're gonna have to have 0 ping. You're gonna have to have like a really good setup. I can't have you crashing mid game. You're gonna have to be on keyboard because I'm gonna need somebody to IGL. I'm gonna need you to be good at fighting. I want you to challenge me in like creative. You're gonna be able to grind every single day. I want you to play 10 hours a day. Right? We're gonna grind to be the best. And they had like these list of, not even requests. They had a list of them like demands. That you would need in order to play with them, right? So it's you need to have A, B, and you need to have C, D, blah blah blah. You need to have like all of this shit, right? So I thought, okay, I'll do the same thing. That I'll go look for somebody. I'll say, okay, I have 0 PR, but you need to be X, Y, Z, blah, 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 blah. You need to have all of these requirements too, right? And when I was telling my friends, like, guys, I've been looking for days, I can't find a duo, and they're like, I had a friend in specific who just sort of looked at me like I was an idiot. He had much more than me. He had like, I think at the time, like 2K PR. So he was like an amateur pro or something like that, right? And when I was like, I can't find myself a duo. What am I doing wrong? He's like, so what are you doing to find them? I'm like, well, I'm going into that elite scrim server and I'm saying that I need a duo and I'm listing my requirements. He's like, why do you need requirements? Like, you're at 0 PR. And he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, I mean, like, what do you mean? And he's like, you're not, well, are you going to stick with this person? Let's be real. And I'm like, I don't know. He's like, you're not going to stick with them, are you? Because if you want to be at like a top level, if you want to be really good, right? If you want to be at like my level, for example, you don't get there by sticking with someone. You get there by using everyone in your path in order to get there. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. This sounds like some shit a villain would say. Like, this sounds like some shit you'd hear from like The Social Network or like any other big corporate douchebag quote ever, right? But I can guarantee you, I don't mean that in a way where I mean malice. Like, I don't mean any, like, I have no vendetta against everyone. I have no ill will, no bad intentions. Like, I'm not saying this to stick it to someone else and say, yeah, screw you, I'm going to use you for this. But it's just generally like, if a client's willing to pay you like $100 for like a 20-minute video, right? 20-minute video, and he wants you to make these videos every 3 days, right? Okay, so then every 3 days, for a month, that would be 10 videos, meaning you'd make 1K per month, right? So let's do it. So like every 3 days, so then we'll times that by 10 to get 30 days, right? So that's 30 days, and that's now 1K per month, right? So you're thinking, okay, cool, so I'm making 1K per month now. But this leaves you no room to scale. Like, your only way of scaling it is every now and then, like every couple months, saying, okay, can I get a raise now? And they'll say, okay, how about $115? And you're like, okay, well, I was kind of hoping like $300 to $400 or something. He's like, what the fuck? No one's going to be willing to pay you that much, right? Because to them, it takes a long time for them to notice change, right? It takes a long time for them to notice change. So you could like improve crazy level when it comes to your editing, but they're not going to notice that because it takes them a while to notice change. So they're not going to be willing to pay you like big raises, like let's say $400 per video. They're going to say, okay, $115 and that's it. $115 or you're not working with me anymore. So you cave in and you say, okay, $115. And now you're making $115 instead of $100. So now you don't really make, now you only make 1.15 per month, right? That doesn't change anything. Doesn't change anything at all. So what are you going to do now, right? You're going to stick with him? I guarantee you I wouldn't. Which is exactly why every single client from $0 onwards, I had always tried to improve. Like here's two things. I only ever seek two things from editing, right? A, improve. Just get better at editing. Simple as, right? B, money. I want to make more money. And how is I going to make more money? By improving, right? Which is why this is first on my list and not second. Because if you want to find money, you can go to whoever. You can go to the guy that tweets out saying like, oh, focus on this niche, or try outreach like this, or do this, or do that, or think about business and not editing. You could do all of that. You could pull out every single gimmick from your ass, right? I don't give a shit what it is. But at the end of the day, there's nothing that gives you the green light quite like just simply having better editing. So every single video I took on, I would want to be better. Because not only if I improved would I be able to make more money, but here's another thing that I was always chasing, that was attention. So I thought to myself, if I could improve like a huge amount every single video, which was completely unrealistic, by the way, and completely killed me mentally. But I just thought, like, if I could improve crazy amounts every single video, not only would I be making more money, but I could post on Twitter and then get a bunch of attention from all the good editors that I was basically seeking just attention from bigger editors, right? So that was my idea. And that worked. Not in the sense of posting, because I don't really post that often, and I'm quite a perfectionist, so I didn't really like what I was putting out. But point is like, people still saw it as an improvement. I didn't think it was good enough because I was putting too much pressure on myself. But point is I was improving nonetheless, and that improvement like gave me the green light. It gave me the go ahead to start charging more and more money to every single client that I approached, or every single client that approached me. So I jumped the ranks from like $50 to $250 for smaller conditions in like a matter of days, right? And then from then I went to 300, and then from then I went to like 400, and I sat on 400 for a while, and then I went to 500, and I stayed on 500 for the longest time until I eventually got to like 1,000. Okay. So obviously the higher you start charging, the harder it is gonna be for you to charge more money. But what's gonna be even harder than that is sticking to one client thinking that he's gonna pay you more. And you're only gonna stick to one client because you're too scared of jumping from, where is it? You're too scared of going from 500 to 2K per month to making 0 per month. So you're too scared to drop pieces of shit like this in order to get to here, right? So this is what I mean by, it's kind of ironic how the way to make more money is to make less money, right? And what do I mean by that? And I'm going to finally go back to this, is by, instead of just repeating and doing the same work over and over again, which, by the way, that would make a job, right? That wouldn't be freelancing. That would just mean that you now have a desk job, right? An office job. Just doing the same videos over and over and over again, making the same amount of money over and over and over again, right? So I didn't like that. I didn't want that. I wanted something new. I wanted bigger clients, right? So what I did without realizing is I would go through the process of learning, practicing, and then putting it to the test. So when I said that I would approach every single client and try and improve and make money, is that I would, in my own time, I would look at like motion designers. I'd look at better editors. I would see if I could recognize an effect, which most times I didn't. Sometimes I did. But I would even go through Premiere and I would practice stuff, right? So practice here. I would see new effects, learn about them, practice them, try and see if there was some sort of compound effects that I could make. If there was some sort of cool sequences I could make, if there was a new animation that I could make, if I was getting better with my keyframing, if I was getting better with my like asset management sounds kind of financy. I mean, like not in the sense of organization, but the way you structure a scene, right? I was trying to get like better at that. I was trying to get better at all these different things and all these different skills when it comes to editing. When I learned about, like, when I first started editing audio, that was a game changer, right? So I would always go through the process of learning about something new, right? So I'd learn something new, and then I would practice, and I would use it in my practice edits for a while, and then when I'd land a client, I would try to implement it there. And if it didn't really work out, then I wasn't good enough. Like I didn't get good enough at practicing it enough to put it in a video. So I thought, okay, that doesn't look good. Okay, let's try another time, because I don't want to screw up the client's video. I don't want to make this good enough so I can get paid more. So then if it wasn't good enough to go in a video, then I would just finish the video, move on, practice it a bit more, and then put it in the video. And if it looked good, then the test worked. I passed the test, right? So then by doing this, by always seeking knowledge, by always seeking learning something new, okay, I would learn something new, and then I'll try and practice it, and then I put it in the video, and if it was good enough, then it would make it to the final cut. And then I'll do this over and over again and over again, to the point where my work just looked much better than last time. And in order to do this means that you are going to have to sacrifice some of your income. There were times where I would go from 2K to $0 to like 1K or 1.5K to like $0, and then like 3K or something, and then $0. Like, I don't know the numbers off my head, but the point is, sometimes I would be at a good point up here, and then I'd have to drop all the way down to $0. Like, for crying out loud, like even after my first 10k month, so let's just say this is my 10k month, I would drop down to 0. I shit you not, I just needed a month. Like this had nothing to do with me improving. I just didn't stick with the clients. I was just like, okay, I'm gonna take a break. I overworked myself. I made $0. And I wasn't afraid that I would never be able to get back to the 10k, because the point is like, everything you learn, every skill you develop, and every skill that you attribute is just evidence to you being able to make money. Like, this shit doesn't go away. No one can just take your knowledge, right? That doesn't go away. This is proof of you being able to do it. If you've done it once, you could do it again, right? So I had no worries of me being broke or something. So I went to $0. And then if I'm okay, and then after a while, I came back up and I made like 8k. I made like 8k dollars, no problem, right? Probably not the month after, like my mind's a bit fuzzy, but I'm pretty sure it was like a couple months after. But yeah, it's not 10k, but the point is like, I had no problem jumping down to 0 if it meant just jumping back up again. I trusted myself enough, like I knew that I built the skills, and I trusted myself enough to jump down, take a rest, rejuvenate, and then jump back up. Okay? But this was in like one scenario. But for every other single video, I was cool with not taking a video sometimes if it meant getting better at, like, actually getting better at editing. Because people always mistake action with progress. By simply editing a video, that doesn't mean that you're progressing, right? You can just do shit. You can just do whatever. You can make a Notion page and organize all your commissions and look, make everything look very pretty and see the way you're coordinating your money. Oh, very pretty, but that's not progression. That's just action. That's just doing stuff. And action does not equal let me repeat this. Action does not equal, right? Does not equal progress. Okay? Progress equals progress. Okay? And how do you know? You just know. Believe me, you just know when you're progressing, right? But doing stuff, working for the same guy, for the same clients, that doesn't mean you're progressing. That doesn't mean you're scaling. That just means you're doing something, okay? And unfortunately, sometimes for you to make this much, you are going to have to drop this back down to $0 in order to go through this process and then eventually make the money that you want to. Thank you. Good night. Goodbye.